I am not a lawyer, but I was a child in the 90s. Although I was too young to appreciate it, I remember how the O.J. Simpson trial took the country by storm. Everyone was watching it to see the latest evidence and how the story would unfold, and everyone had an opinion about how the puzzle pieces fit together. America's first reality TV show. That sort of thing doesn't happen nowadays. Maybe we have better things to do, but in the last several years, there have been a number of big, high-profile cases that have been streamed in their entirety to the internet. I can't help it. I watched them a lot. All of the cases were different, but there were some things about the process which struck me. One of them is how they instruct the jury. No matter what the case is, the jury is always sat down by the judge and told how they should behave. The judge says, "You are the finder of fact." He says that it is their prerogative how to interpret the accounts of the witnesses that are brought before them, that they can determine whether a witness is reliable or completely unreliable and nothing they say should be given any weight. It is explained that they will be given the charges and that their only role is to determine whether the defendant is guilty of the charges presented. The judge will then take the findings of the jury and choose the appropriate punishments according to the law and the sentencing guidelines. It is reinforced that it is not the role of the jury to decide what the law should be, and their opinions on that are irrelevant. Their sole purpose is to be the finder of fact. Did the person do what they are accused of? And I can understand why we treat the situation in this way. In order to get a conviction, you need all 12 people to be in agreement. And you don't want one random person off the street to come in and take control of the situation because they have some harebrained ideas about the man or stereotypes or capitalism or whatever. On top of that, have you seen these people on the street? They don't know anything about anything. The law, on the other hand, is well reasoned, the result of hundreds or thousands of rational people carefully weighing every relevant consideration. They look at the situation from different angles, and the best ideas are debated, and out of this crucible come our laws. A good process. Like I said, it makes sense why we do it this way. However, there is one little issue. As I understand it, the whole point of the jury system is to be judged by a jury of your peers. This means that you are not being judged by an aggressive and overeager government, and not simply processed by a cold and detached bureaucracy. No, these are people from your community. They walk the streets you walk, and your kids might even go to the same school. They are supposed to be able to put themselves in your shoes. They decide if you are guilty and whether you deserve to be punished. In effect, they are saying, this punishment is just, and if I did the same thing, then I would expect the same punishment to come upon me. By doing this, they reaffirm the law as being just and fair. This is reminiscent of an event that happened in the book of Deuteronomy. The whole community was gathered together on a large mountain called Mount Ebal. They were all presented with the rules, and all the people reaffirmed them, effectively saying that, going forward, everyone who transgressed these rules was punishable, regardless of who they are. So I think that this is the way our system was designed, and that if we found ourselves on the wrong side of the law, if we felt the crushing weight and the despair that comes with it, we would want the jury to determine whether and to what degree we should be punished for the crime. But because of some horror stories, and because of our fear of what one knucklehead could do, we are left with the present circumstance. The circumstance where we tell juries that they are just the finder of fact, and we shame them into not thinking for themselves. But at the same time, they are absolutely allowed to disregard this instruction and do what they think is right. I don't have any solution to the problem, and I really don't blame the justice system for struggling with this issue. Ultimately, a lot of this comes down to whether or not the cases are being rightly decided. If a juror flouts the law when the law is good, then we want to set up safeguards to prevent that. But when a law is overbearing and the defendant committed no great harm to the community, the jury should absolutely be able to step in and say so. It would be nice if we could live in a society where we could absolutely trust 12 random people around us to always make the right decision. But until that is the case, I suspect we will continue to walk this tightrope.